Welcome everybody to Island Girl, and I'm back with another one. And today I'm reacting to 11 British habits we've adopted since moving from the US. And I'm getting this from Simple Scottish Living. Please go over and show them some love. The link will be in the description below. They have amazing content on their channel. This is Zach and Annie. I like to live vicariously through them whenever time they upload. Like I said, amazing content. So please go over. Tell them your Island Girls sent you. All right, guys. So if you're new to my channel, welcome. Thank you for coming in. Please hit the like button, and I hope you will consider hitting the subscribe button. I'd love to have you as a part of this big, whole, happy family. All right. So we're going to find out these 11 British habits that they've since adopted since moving from the US and now living in Scotland. All right, so before I hit on this button, if you'd like to support the channel in another way, you can become a member to the channel by clicking that join button, and after you click on it, you will see all the perks that is offered. I hope you'll consider doing so. All right, guys, with that said, let's get into this video. Here we go right now. Beautiful.
We're Zach and Annie, a Scotsman and an American.
6 months ago, we made a huge decision, leaving everything behind in California in order to follow a new dream of raising our kids in Scotland.
Oh, this is
Hi everyone, welcome back. Today we are inside because there's another yellow wind warning outside. You might be able to see something flying around out there, but it's pretty gusty. Anyway, today we are talking about habits that we've either picked up or I've reacquired after living in the UK for 9 months.
Okay.
Yeah. So we moved over from California to Scotland, and some of these things we thought might happen, and then others took us by surprise. So let's get into it.
All right.
Number one might sound strange coming from somebody who used to enforce the road laws in California, but it is driving at the speed limit.
Yes. So Zach was a sergeant for the California Highway Patrol.
Yeah.
And before that, he was an officer and actually pulled people over for driving over the speed limit. And yeah, it's just very different here. People, you get your occasional speeder, but two different things is there really aren't officers patrolling the roads like in the US, and they leave it up to speed cameras more so, right?
Yeah, so in the UK, speed cameras are the way of deterring people's speed for the most part. They're highly visible. It's advertised where they are.
Oh.
If you get caught by a speed camera,
it's your fault.
It's your own fault, really. Whereas in the US, 90% of my job was catching people speeding and being somewhat sneaky about it. And
90% of the people were speeding.
Yes. So when I first moved over to the US, I was doing some driving and it's like, why are you going so slow? I'm like, the speed limit on the freeway is 65. I'm doing 65. She's like, nobody does 65.
It's like you're going to cause an accident if you drive the speed limit.
And she's right. I mean, a minimum of maybe like 10 miles an hour over the limit, nobody's going to bat an eye. As long as you're on the freeway. Obviously, other streets are different. And work in law enforcement, I would agree. It's not worth our time because so many other people are going so much faster than that on the roads.
Yeah.
Whereas in the UK, I'd say if you're going more than 5 over, you're potentially in trouble. And most people just sit at the speed limit and cruise along at 70 miles an hour, which is the sort of national speed limit here, or the motorway speed limit. And yeah, it's just completely, I don't know, there's less people enforcing it, yet more people here
abide by the law.
Yeah.
It's an interesting concept, that isn't it?
And it's not, I mean, in the US, you can definitely get a speeding ticket if you're doing 1 mile an hour over the speed limit, but I don't know if it's the size of their freeways or whatever it is that lets people go faster, but that is definitely something I've had to readjust to.
It is. And that sort of segues.
That is interesting. That you know where all the cameras are to catch you if you're speeding. So it's not hidden. That's cool. I like that. So like he said, if you get caught and get a ticket, you deserve it because you cost that on yourself. But so there's less police on the road because they're using cameras. just like you said, just as he explained, that is the case. Yeah, the 65 miles. No, majority of the people are not going to go past that and faster. So you gotta keep up with traffic in a sense. And they're out there sitting on a certain corner with their radar. It's crazy, but there you are. Okay, now interesting.
Into our next point about transportation and having public transportation actually being a viable option here.
Okay.
Yeah. Again, when I moved over there, we were looking to do some big trips, and I was like, okay, that's going to be a however long drive. It's like, well, why don't we think about the train or the bus or something? And it's not even on the table because they're just not as accessible and easy
reliable
to use. Or affordable.
Yeah. Trains in the United States, I think trains are expensive here. Try getting a train over any long distance in the US. It's crazy.
It is.
Whereas here, yeah, bus, you can jump on a bus so easily. You can walk places. Trains get you city center to city center.
Nice.
It's almost our first option is to try and use public transport. And then if that maybe doesn't work with our plans, okay, fine, we'll drive.
Okay.
We have one car and Zach's now taking it into the office. So he has a new job. He's having to go into the office regularly. And I'm with the kids at home during those periods. And I am relying on the bus so much. It was something that was extremely overwhelming to me when we first moved and thinking of, oh my gosh, how do I look at bus schedules and plan ahead? And it's
not
so
used to it.
simple.
Yeah.
And now we have a bus pass and just can get off and on, navigate around the town. And it's been a lifesaver. So I'm so thankful for accessible and reliable public transport.
And safer.
And safe.
I think, especially certain night times in the US, like you would avoid public transport almost completely. So
MARTA, if you're from Atlanta, you don't want to be going on MARTA late at night. So there's a big difference in public transport here, and we're taking full advantage of it.
Number 3 is
I love that. I love that your public transportation is accessible, easily accessible and available, because like she said, here in the US it's a difficulty and it depends on where you're located. It's hard to get a bus or train. There's no train in the area that you live as well. The transportation is not as accessible as it should be. I think it should. That's my opinion. I think it should be, because if there's no bus running, you have to carpool with somebody, and if you're not carpooling with somebody, you have to pay taxi and it's expensive. So and if you're doing trains, it's expensive as well, and they're never on top. Yeah, the whole 9 yards. So that is amazing. And this is not the first time I've heard that your guys, when it comes on to public transportation, it is affordable and accessible, and it gets you where you need to go, and it's just amazing. So that's awesome to hear.
It's almost a habit. It's more of a mindset shift. The amount of orders we're receiving from Amazon has gone way down. We're just not like buying as much stuff.
No.
And we've been thinking about this and trying to figure out like why. I don't know if it's we have slightly less disposable income or we don't have enough space for stuff, but there's just not so much of a desire to sort of buy stuff.
Interesting.
And maybe there's more of like thinking of the environment here. And the impact that you're going to have. I feel guilty now when I order from Amazon and have excessive packages coming. Whereas in the US, we had something getting delivered almost daily. It's embarrassing to say, and I really regret this now.
Yeah, it's almost like we're like one person or one family in hundreds of millions of people versus one family now in a lot less people.
Yes.
So technically our impact's greater. Is that what you mean?
It is.
Okay.
Well, no, I just feel like I'm more conscious of it too.
Oh,
and wanting to be a better person for the planet and making less of that environmental impact. So I don't know. That's a big change for me, and not wanting so much stuff.
Yeah.
It could be because our house is about a fourth the size of what we had in the States. But I don't know. It's just a complete mind shift.
I think
change.
also for Amazon, there's so much less choice on the UK Amazon that in the US, you could just search for hours and finally find that like
something,
perfect little thing with these little features. And whereas here, you're like, actually, I don't find that. It doesn't have this feature and I don't need it. I don't know. If you have any ideas of why that might be, we'd be interested to hear, because it's definitely something we've changed, but we're not really sure why.
Yeah.
And we like it.
And I think it actually probably plays off of the next point is that
So that is interesting that they slowed down. Well, maybe like they said, maybe it's the fact that their house is not as big, so they don't want to pack it up with too much. And not only that, and I remember in a video that I watched before with Zach and Annie, they were talking about how their Amazon package take a longer time to get in. So, maybe that's one of the reasons why you guys slow down. And also, I was shocked when you said that oh my word, I'm losing my thought here. When you said that, you guys have lesser stuff. I'm like, on Amazon in the UK than when it would be in the. That is interesting, because I would think that you would have a vast variety of stuff on your Amazon, just as if you were in the US. So that one caught me off guard. I'm like, oh, okay, interesting. Okay.
We are buying more locally.
That's a good point. Yeah.
So when we need something, we try to support the local businesses, and we go into town. And if you need a light bulb, rather than going to Amazon and ordering it and having it delivered, we'll go to a local shop and pick up a light bulb, because why would you not want your town and high street to succeed? And if it's just a few pence difference, it makes a big difference for our community.
Yeah. You're almost definitely going to be spending a little bit more, but
it's
we're
worth
happy
it
to do that.
Yeah.
And that's a great answer. Answered our own question, but yes. Like Annie said, that's now our first port of call is like, let's walk into town and see if they have it. You get it quicker and you support the local business, and it's just a win-win. So.
Our son needed a bicycle, and there's a bike shop in our town, and it was more expensive, but then again, we know it's going back into the community, and the more you put into the community, the more you get out, the more it thrives. So when it's a difference like that you could make, we like to do our part.
And then little things for that example. The guy we bought it from was like, bring it back in 6 weeks. And he gave it a free once over to tighten up the brakes and the cables and stuff. And you can get that if you bought it at Amazon or a big shop. So
exactly.
Shop local. We love it.
And that's for things as well, like a farmer's market, getting your fresh produce. And we have a man who comes with a fish truck, buying from him. So supporting all the local businesses has been fantastic, and wasn't something that we necessarily even had the option to do in the States.
Yeah. No.
I mean, sometimes we'd have local farmers markets, but it's just quite different over here.
Yeah. Local in the US would just be like your local big supermarket or Safeway or whatever it is.
And then maybe some fruit stands on the side of the road. Yeah. they have those.
No, they are. Not always still legal, but excellent strawberries.
Yeah. But talking about shopping local is, I guess this one doesn't segue as much.
Try it.
I like that. I like supporting local, it's important. I think it helps the community or wherever you are to flourish. I'm always on board for that. Maybe that's one of the reasons why they don't do Amazon as much as well. Go back to the point that they made on number 3, why they're shopping less on Amazon, because it's easier to just go. It's quick, it's faster, it's right at your fingertip. Instead of sitting and browsing online and then waiting for it to be delivered to you. So supporting you're building up your community at the end of the day. And if he had bought that bike online, then she wouldn't have got that service again. You understand? To be fitted up and then get checked again. No, you have to figure it out on your own. And locals getting fruits and vegetables, it's expensive too here in the US when you do that. So I could adopt that.
Go for it. I want to know.
Is that you don't buy so much in bulk. How does that go?
It has a purchasing segment. I'll buy it.
It works.
No, Annie's right. And one of the things, another big thing that came out of our Costco comparison, other than the fact that Costco over here seems very expensive, is that we don't have space for 500 toilet rolls and 300 kitchen rolls and 18 pounds of meat and all that sort of
50 boxes of cereal because you get the discount when you buy so many.
Quite literally, we don't have the space to store months of stuff. And so we find ourselves doing more routine weekly shops versus maybe up to like a month's worth of bulk purchasing and then little things to add on.
I can see that.
Is nice, and it keeps kind of what we eat varied and
fresh.
So we just touched it briefly there, but another big one, which we got some hate for initially, was shopping seasonally. Now in California especially, you're spoiled because you can get essentially delicious fresh fruit
all year round.
I mean, you'll see variations, especially in like the strawberries and that sort of thing, but for the most part, they're good all year.
And they don't fluctuate so much in price. Whereas here, someone
they're always
mentioned
just super expensive.
But someone mentioned in the video, like, why would you be buying that? That's not in season and it's so much more expensive. And it never even crossed my mind. So I did compare prices, and it's a huge difference between buying things out of season versus seasonally.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like Annie said, I didn't even look at the price. I just assumed they'd be the same. Because that's what
Americans,
we've learned.
Yes, because things like Scottish strawberries in season are fresher, tastier, and cheaper than the ones that you get in the winter that have to be imported from somewhere else.
Yeah.
So it makes sense.
It all makes so much sense. Silly, oblivious American mindsets.
I don't know, but I mean, things like strawberries can be grown all year round in the U.S.
Yeah, and then you have
and in California,
and you have Mexico right there with like weather that can grow stuff. And
so it's just something that we weren't aware of because we hadn't had exposure to it.
And we use strawberries because our kids will eat them by the kilo if we allow them. So
true.
All right, I'm gonna try this segue to the next one. So we're talking about shopping seasonally.
So there they have it. You get to shop. They don't shop at Costco as how they would have in the US, because they don't have space. One, so that's why I think that cut down the Amazon. But I'm still going back to that. But you don't have to buy as much, because here in the US, a lot of people, when they do grocery shopping, they shop for 2 weeks or for a whole month, and then the freezer is full and this is full, and they don't go out grocery shopping for a whole month, because everything that they need is just maybe 1 or 2 items that they'll forget and run to the store and pick up, but they normally shop in bulk here. So that, for them, I think that's awesome that they shop more often and get fruits and vegetables. Your stuff are much fresher. You understand? You get what you need, and that's it. And you don't spend as much when you do that as well. And then when they talk about shopping seasonally, like especially when it comes down to fruits and veg and it's seasonal, ding, ding, ding. It's gonna cost you if it's not in season, always. But I'm glad they figured it out.
The next one is checking the weather daily.
Yeah.
Something we were definitely spoiled for. I think the only thing in California we checked the weather for was if it was going to be too hot to go outside, or if there was a fire and it was not safe to go outside.
Yep.
Other than that, it was going to be pretty much blue skies and sunny. Gonna add into that.
Yep, that's it. Goodbye. See you next week. So with that said, you have to plan appropriately. And what I mean by that is bring a backpack and every item of clothing you have.
Something
every single day.
I did this when I first moved over, and Annie called me out on it because we were in Georgia, and I had a backpack with a little scarf and some gloves and a rain jacket. And Annie's like, it is 35 degrees Celsius out there.
This is midsummer in Georgia. You do not need your gloves and scarf.
She's like, if you leave and it looks like this, you'll come back and it looks like this.
Yeah.
And you like this all day, all week, most of the month, you'll be fine. So I ditched my backpack, but I've dusted it off and it's back out now every day. Little umbrella, gloves,
scarf,
rain
hat.
jacket.
Wow.
Yes, the kids' waterproof clothes, just throwing those in there because you never know when the rain's going to hit, and you don't want it to have to impact you and you have to go all the way back home, get changed.
Yeah.
So if you just have their waterproof clothes already packed up in the bag, they take up so little space. Why not?
Yeah, we'd send the kids in California shorts and t-shirt to school, and they'd maybe have a little zip-up hoodie for the morning, but you didn't need to pack a jacket. Whereas the kids' waterproof jacket lives in their school bag.
Yes.
If it rains on them at playtime, they throw it on and it's an essential little habit change for sure.
Yep.
You're only going to get caught out once and you'll realize how much you want it. So.
Yes, because in California, if it rained at school, the kids just wouldn't go outside. It's a one-day hit. Here, they go outside daily. So rain or shine, whatever.
Maybe even pack some welly boots.
Snow, and they're outside, which I appreciate because they need that time. It helps the brain develop, right?
I can't remember the next point, but I want to see if Annie can segue.
I love the fact that they're so laid back. I like their temperament. That's why I love watching their video. But with saying that, if you're in an area, you know that the weather is unpredictable, you gotta be prepared. That's just common sense to me, because a lot of people travel to the UK and they're always complaining about, oh, it's always raining or this or that. But if you dress for the occasion, then you will be fine. And that, like I said, have that backpack, have the stuff in the bag, ready to go at all times, so you don't have to, if anything happens, you're prepared. I like that.
Way into it.
All right. So helping the brain develop. I mean, there's nothing better for your brain than a hot cup of coffee, right?
Nailed it. Well done.
It's actually the use of kettles over here. We use the kettle nonstop all day long, whether it's for making our hot drinks throughout the day or even boiling
our hot drinks.
My hot drinks daily. Boiling hot water before you're making pasta.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah. People just don't use kettles in the US. Like 90% of people don't use them.
Yeah.
We've had comments that some people do, but I think the electricity difference and all that, it's actually more.
It's just not as quick over there. So it's it doesn't make the impact that it does over here. You can have your water boiled so quickly over here because of the differences in electricity. So
plus, apparently, you don't need boiling water to make hot drinks in the US.
Well, coffee doesn't use boiling water, whereas tea, it's mandatory that your water is boiling.
Yeah.
This is way outside my area of expertise. The only thing I use a kettle for is heating up the hot water bottles.
And the hot water bottles, another good one. Yeah, so the kettle is used all day, fantastic, and we're never giving it up. You will have to pry it from my cold, dead hands.
Love it. I have come accustomed to my hot water, my kettle as well. Listen, it's the best thing since sliced bread that I purchased, and I'm loving every minute of it. There's a few British stuff that I've purchased lately that I'm like, ooh, what was I waiting for? Why did I not have this? So yeah, that's amazing. She's right on that. It does take a longer time to boil, but that's fine by me. It's still very handy. Comes in perfectly.
Do you remember what the next one is?
I had a quick peek, and talking about being in the kitchen.
I don't know what's coming.
The next is using your knife and fork.
Oh, yes. Okay, good one.
Yep.
So this is something I never stopped doing. Got laughed at a few times in the US, but using your knife and fork properly is just something everyone does over here.
Whoa. Properly.
I'm standing by that, yes.
So I will say, when I first met Zach and he was using his fork the British way, where you keep your fork sort of upside down in your left hand, and then you use the knife in the right hand, and you use both utensils throughout your whole meal, which I have adopted. I actually think it's functional and makes so much sense.
And in some of the other videos, they were saying that Annie is doing it better than me, so that's fine. Well done.
So that, though, I thought when I first met Zach that he was being so rude eating like that. Isn't that funny?
Really?
Yeah, because I did. I mean, the South etiquette. We sort of had etiquette
what's
lessons.
like rude about it? Or what did you perceive to be rude about it?
When I thought the proper way to eat was to cut your piece, put your hand in your lap, like use just your right hand, then cut a piece, put your hand back in your lap. It takes so much more time and effort.
Honestly, she kept this subdued because she never mentioned that to me. This is the first time I've ever heard of that.
But so it's funny. He thought I was being rude. I thought he's being rude. Rude's probably a little bit too much of a strong term. I don't know.
I don't know what the word is, but yeah.
We didn't think it was the proper way.
Just like Annie said, like, they will use both utensils, cut it up, but then they'll put the knife down, switch to their dominant hand, and like just start shoveling in what they've cut up, which to me is like, all right, easy. Like,
one thing I do see British people mentioning this all the time, so I have to give Americans a little bit of credit. They say that we eat like children because they think that we cut up every single piece and then eat it. That's what we do for our kids.
The British people do that for their kids as well.
Yes, but then Americans, we use our knife and fork throughout the whole meal. We just put our hand in our lap in between having to cut pieces.
Yeah.
So it's not like we cut up every single piece on our plate like a child and then eat from there. Just some clarification. But I have adopted the British way of using a fork and knife or knife and fork.
So I think as well, does America kind of like eat things almost on their own? Because I feel like when you use the knife and fork in both hands, that's how you can like combine the different things on your plate. So you get like a little bit of everything and put it together.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like you guys don't really do that. Or you can do that if you're just using like...
We just spear it on with our one hand.
Jab it in there.
Yep.
So yes, anyway, using your knife and fork in both hands throughout the meal, if you don't do that here, you'll get some funny looks, I think.
People will just think you're American.
Yeah,
probably.
That's probably right.
And I agree. I enjoy eating the British way more so.
So this next one, I think.
So you guys pride yourself on etiquette, table man, using the proper way to use a knife and fork. I did not know that you guys use it all through your meal. You don't put down your knife at all. Because just like Annie said, we tend to we put the knife down when there's no need for it, and then go back to the right hand with the dominant hand and eat with the fork, and only when it's needed, like to scrape up the extra rice or whatever, to put it up on. But I was so in awe that the fact that you guys turn your forks down, that one caught me off guard. I'm like, oh, interesting. So learn something new here again. But he is right. It's and that, because you always hear good table manners is where here in the US or even in Jamaica is where your elbow is not supposed to be on the table, and your other, if you're not using one hand, it stays in your lap. So yeah, I was surprised that's not the case. So you say you're never too old you're never too old to learn something.
I think we were probably aware of as a cultural difference, but in the UK, people, I think, almost expect or require more sort of personal space.
Yes, your bubbles are just slightly larger. And one thing I noticed is that everyone's extremely courteous over here. And when you're walking past someone on the road, you give each other much more space, like 5 feet or definitely over a meter to pass by each other. So if someone's walking close, they'll usually stand off into like the opening of a store to let you pass. And
I'm just marveling at your combination of both measurements, like 5 feet or at least a meter. That's perfect.
Well, a meter's 3 feet.
I know, exactly. I'm genuinely impressed. You just switched between the two perfectly.
I'm learning.
There's, what Annie was mentioning, there's videos online, like comedy videos, where people are passing down a fairly narrow road and people will like throw themselves into bushes just to like give someone plenty of space, like inconvenience themselves to give somebody else the space, which it's like a stereotypical like British thing. Almost,
wow.
Yeah. But I wouldn't say that American people are impolite. I feel like
our bubbles are just a little bit smaller.
And they're still sort of like, they'll still apologize for being in your way, but they're happier to do that in a sort of narrow space.
Yeah.
It's just, we will pass within a meter of each other. You're still not touching, but you just are allowed to sort of pass each other close by. And I mean, you get that over here too, but I just see it more frequently over here, people giving much greater distances.
Then again, he's doing something under the table.
He's rolling around, he's eating.
He's got his little dog's football, so.
And I notice it a lot more on things like hiking trails.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, hiking trails specifically in America, you'll just sort of get past each other.
And actually, in America, if you're wearing like the same football jersey or something, you'll get a little high five for supporting the same team and that sort of stuff. So. Both are okay, just different and.
Really
talking about football.
Are we?
That's really different for real. because I've noticed it. I saw a meme where they're showing how Brits are standing in a queue, and like one person's here, one is all the way down in Timbuktu. I'm like, dang it! But the queue is long, it's a long queue going, but the space between each person, and I'm like, oh, like somebody was like, tell me how you know you're, tell me how you know it's a British person without somebody telling you or something to that effect. And I'm like, I was trying to figure it out until I'm like, and then I read, I'm like, oh. At first I was thinking, oh, they're in a line. Nobody's trying to cut anybody, but that wasn't it. It was the space between. And then they're not the first one I hear say that. I'm like, and I always laugh when I hear him like, it's like you literally get out of the way not to get into that person bubble. That's America. No, they have no regard for that. They don't care. They'll push past you. They'll brush past you, like he said. You're passing somebody and them wearing the same time. It's like they're like great man thing. Like give you a high five. They don't even have to know you. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. That's different.
Are we getting good at this, or are we just stretching?
So we're stretching on all of them.
Stretching.
With sporting events here, big difference, which my parents did not appreciate when they were visiting, is that you stand over here for sports, at least children's sports.
It's like people are going to laugh at that. It's like, heaven forbid the American stands instead of sits. But Annie asked me this question, like, why does nobody like sit to watch like a rugby or a football, like a kid's game or whatever?
Yeah.
And I was like, I couldn't really think of a good reason other than maybe the weather.
And just sitting in wetness.
Like mud raining. And like cold and rain. But sorry, I cut you off. Go ahead.
Oh, no, that's fine. Yeah, so that was interesting to me. Growing up, I played football or soccer, and we'd always be traveling to events, and my parents would always have their little pop-up chairs.
Like
and
folding
everyone
camping chairs.
did. Yeah, so every adult on the sidelines would be sitting in their camping chair, and that's just how it was. And that's with any sport too. If you go to an American football game, if you go to baseball and there's not enough stands or bleachers available, people just bring their chairs.
Yeah.
And so when I came over here,
that's interesting because those games are so much longer. Like baseball and American football can take a lot longer time, which might make sense. And then I'm comparing it to in the summertime, like people watching cricket in the UK. In the comments, let us know, do you bring your own chairs for cricket? Or
yeah, it would be the
same. I played cricket at school and I can't remember what people did if they just sat on the grass, like maybe bring a little, like a picnic blanket and sit on that.
Okay.
I feel like that would be the British way to do it versus
a little picnic.
Yeah, versus a camping chair. But yeah, on Annie's point, everyone would have the chairs, and some people would even bring like pop-up like tent things for the sun. And that one makes a little, in one sense, makes a little less sense.
Because we don't have as much wind and we have a lot more sun. So it's more for protection, really. Yeah.
But the chair thing, Annie's parents took our chairs for rugby and they worked out just fine. And they were comfy and they enjoyed them. And
they didn't mind being the only people sitting.
No.
But to be fair, they're also over 70.
That's true.
So, and my mom has feet issues, so she does need to sit for a long period.
Only comparison I could make is, again, I remember sometimes people made it like a walking stick. There's walking sticks that fold, the top part folds into a little leaning rest thing. But yeah, the camping chairs thing is definitely an American thing, which maybe we'll just try and start that over here. See how it goes. We'll just adopt it. And
will you take our daughter's helmet off? We're just about to head out for a sporting event, but our daughter decided that she was just going to wear a helmet all morning, and
come here.
Yeah, who knows what's going on?
Okay, she's deemed it safe enough to continue in the living room without a bike helmet on. So those are the bigger, I guess, ones or habits that we've adopted. We now have
that. I realized. I think that I heard them said it in another video or somebody else that. You guys don't sit to watch a game, you stand. You don't bring no chair, because even if it's half an hour or 45 minutes, as long as the ground is dry, there's a blanket going down and we're sitting down, and majority of people are just sit on the grass. And if not, we bring our camping chairs to sit and watch the game. Because even when my kids have their little tournament and stuff, it's the same thing. It's not necessarily all that long. But yeah, you sit there and you get comfortable. So I was surprised that you guys don't do that. You're standing. So that to me, I was like, okay. No sitting? Why not?
4 or 5 little ones that we don't have as much to say about, but it's definitely things we've noticed we've changed. Bonus feature, yes.
Yes. So one, and I really like this. Instead of using emojis over here, like every woman on the end of any text or email adds a little X.
I like that.
I'm not chatting to too many women by text, so I don't know this, but Annie mentioned it. And Finnegan, what are you doing? Digging for, there's nothing down there, but he's trying to dig for it. You want to come up?
Yes, and that's something I've adopted. I like using a little X as well, and it just
maybe it goes in with your love of getting pet names.
It is.
Yeah.
It's right in the same camp as that.
So this next reference, I don't know if any American will get it, but Colin the Caterpillar cakes for kids' birthdays.
Yes.
They are obsessed with Colin the Caterpillar, which you can only buy at Marks and Spencer's, and it's this chocolate log cake, basically shaped like a caterpillar, and
and it took our kids approximately
one
birthday party to now adopt Colin. He is a part of our family at every birthday event. And yeah, it's something you can't miss out on.
Their favorite part is the face or the bum, because it has the most chocolate on it. Yeah.
Next one. Let's go with
kids. Why not? The face, but that I've seen it in another video, and it looks amazing to eat. So I'll definitely eat Colin the Caterpillar. I am going to try it when I get there. So that is funny.
Into opening windows.
Yes, this is something in Georgia we did not do at all because it's way too hot or it's just cold and you want the windows closed.
There's no in between in Georgia. You either have weather that's too hot and you truly do need your air conditioning, or it's too cold and you have to do your forced air for heated air.
We did it a little bit in California, especially in Northern California. Some of the homes do not have air conditioning, so once it does cool down, you open your windows. But yeah, here, if it's too hot inside your house, that's all you've got. I mean, some fans maybe, but otherwise it's open a few windows or just open the little vent on your window. And for the most part, you don't have to worry about bugs too much either.
No, not too much.
I mean, the US has little screens on them.
Yeah.
But you do get some giant, scary spiders here.
But they come in even if your windows are closed.
That's true.
Yeah.
They somehow find their way in.
There's one of our videos where we talk about this, that Annie got a big scare because there was a giant spider in our daughter's room that looked so big it was like a toy.
Wow. I'm really mad at our kids because I thought they were purposely trying to scare the youngest, our daughter. I was like, why would you do that? It's just not a kind thing to do. It moved. We all nearly had heart attacks. Yeah. I think Finnegan was chewing on the camera pole.
Yeah, so if the camera
angles might have moved.
The camera moved, we're not haunted. It was just Finnegan. The last one is, again, something you're probably only going to do a handful of times. And that is when you plug in something to charge or power up and nothing happens because you've not flipped the little switch on the plug. How many times have you not done that?
I did it religiously the first 3 months we moved over here. Every single night I'd go plug in my phone, I'm tired, and then the next morning it would be dead, of course, because I did not flip the switch. Yeah. So that is another British habit I have definitely adopted.
And we've seen it online. People get mixed up with it all the time, and just a little added safety feature. But yeah, it's definitely something to begin with. You have to consciously make yourself aware of. So
yeah.
So that is wrapping it up.
Yeah.
All of the British habits we've either reacquired or adopted just now. Yeah. And we'll check back in about, I don't know, 6 months, see if there's anything else.
See if any of these have changed or there's more we've added. But again, let us know in the comments if you've got any input or any suggestions.
Love this video. The bonus ones that they gave, I really do. I can't get over your plugs, for one. Two, I know they weren't talking about the plug. They were talking about the fact that she adopted remembering to turn on the switch when she plugged in. I think that is very, very cool that you guys do that. And I think you guys, the way your windows open, I think it's very cool. The way it's still open, but without a mesh, To keep out them insect? No. No. Awesome video. Loved every minute of it. Like I said, I love checking them out. I love the way that they talk to each other, the way that they just explain stuff and they just giggle with each other. I think it's very cool. It's the island girl. Yeah, it's me. And the kids are asleep. Why am I telling you? It's 1:51 a.m. here, Alaska time, and my whole house is asleep, and I'm up making this video. So, with that said, I am going to sign out of here and go lay down because I have to get up back by 5:30 to start prepping for kids' lunch and stuff for school. I hope you enjoy this video. Let me know in the comments section if you did. Please give this one a big thumbs up. It really, really, really helps the channel when you hit the thumbs up button, and also share. And rock back, relax, be good, be kind, be safe out there, love each other. And I do, yes, that one too. I love the XXX. I love when you guys give me XXX. Just make this girl blush. Yes, I love it. Love you guys to the max. And like I said, I hope you guys consider becoming a member to my channel. Yeah, love you guys, and I'll catch you guys in another video. Bye.